Facebook? Can we still do that?
Yes, so now it's live on YouTube. So just go ahead,
How do
whoever.
we? Can you make it live on Facebook too?
Yeah, hold on a second.
Okay, gotcha.
So are we waiting for Regina or just go ahead?
I would say go ahead. She'll jump on when she gets on.
Okay. And
So
yeah, I think Regina was coming on too.
yeah. Let me see. I just messaged her. So I told her she could jump on now. So let me make sure she has that link. Awesome.
Okay, well, I guess we get started.
Yes.
Well, Mai, are we good on Facebook too, Mai?
I just put the link there so you can share it in the groups.
Hold on.
The link in the chat.
Okay, it's in the chat. On your personal page, Mai?
No, in the chat, in the Zoom.
Oh, is there a way that we can we go to Facebook?
Yeah,
though?
just put the link on Facebook, and then it will be
gotcha.
live.
Go into put the link, and then it'll be live. We never did it like this. So everybody, good evening. We're just gonna get the technologies and stuff together here. We're actually doing something new. We're streaming to YouTube right now, live. We can see that we're live there, but we've been using Facebook as well. So we want to make sure that we can stream on there also. How do I minimize this to get to Facebook?
Heidi, why don't you get started, and then
I'll let Courtney do all that stuff.
Wait, Mai, before she gets started, Mai, can we make it so that I'm a co-host so that I can, because I should be able to share it to Facebook. Can we change? I don't see that I have access there to do that. I think I might need to be as a co-host.
You are a co-host.
Well, what? I don't see the function that would allow me to share it to Facebook.
You're just copying the link, copy and paste. I got it.
Oh, there's Regina too. Regina's on.
Okay, how do I minimize this whole screen here? Because I can't get at it. Let me see here. How do I exit full screen? Maybe. Let me see here. There it is. I just exit. Okay, so here I got the link. So that means I have to just bear with us, folks. Let's see here.
Don't you love technology?
You know, we do one thing that's different, and it throws a whole monkey wrench in the whole process.
That's okay, because guess what? That's life, right? I mean, right now we got life going on right now.
It is. Let's see here. Log in.
And Regina, how are you? I don't know if you can hear us.
Okay.
We still got our mic off.
Hi, Regina. I guess it's good morning where you're at, like early morning.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we can hear
you.
Yeah.
Hey, how you guys doing? Well, I mean, it's like 8 o'clock in the evening.
What's on your mind? Okay. So right now what we're doing is we're trying to stream this. There it is right there. Okay, so it's public. So guys, I'm posting it on my timeline. So it is now live. So you can go from my timeline and share it to where you want to share it at this moment. Let's make sure. And then with no further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you all for bearing with us as we get our technologies and stuff together. Happy Wednesday. Somebody needs to mute their line or some feedback. But happy Wednesday. Hopefully everybody is doing well. Are you well? Wednesday, we have a different time. This evening, we usually do 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but we have a special guest from really far away, India. So I want to say it's 5:30 a.m. her time. So definitely excited about that. But we have a brand new panel of wellness experts who have joined us. I'm sorry, that's Regina. That's not. Did Rashida join yet? I don't think. Okay. So the whole time I'm talking about Rashida in India, and it's Regina in I think North Carolina. Well, anyway, Rashida is on her way. She'll be here at some point. But we're just excited that everybody's here. We're talking about anti-aging. So this is a topic that is very trending. Most people want to feel like they have more energy, want to be well, that kind of thing. The fountain of youth. This is a very trending topic, and we have some amazing wellness professionals that are joining us, and we're gonna just jump right into it. Heidi is gonna talk about anti-aging, and then after that, we're gonna introduce our panel. So I'll pass it over to you, Heidi.
Okay, well, thank you all again for coming to RUL Wednesday. Be sure to check us out every Wednesday, usually around 7. We have wonderful topics on wellness and health. So again, thank you all you experts. And we're going to talk today, yes, about the theories of aging, okay? And what we can do to help eliminate some of this wear and tear on our bodies. And so we will talk to the rest of the experts here about that. I just want to go over some of the theories of aging, and one being the wear and tear theory. I don't know if you have heard of that. Ellen, I'm sure very much in your expertise that you have. It's the process with which the human body wears out due to passage of time and exposure to your environment. Okay, we have the genetic adaptation, all right, and the cellular aging. So these three theories here I want to talk about. And first, we want to get into the wear and tear version. And I'd like to think we just did intermittent fasting last week, and that kind of intercepts in with this. Beings, the wear and tear, you want intermittent fasting allows our body through that time to not work as hard. So therefore it is less wear and tear on our body. Okay, so that's a big thing that we should have mentioned kind of last week too. But I would like to pass it on to the experts, and I'd like to go over one theory at a time with the experts. And then after, I have a question for everybody, and I'd like to know what you all are doing to stop your aging process. So go ahead, whoever wants to go.
Well, Heidi, do you want me to introduce them first?
Yes, you can do the introduction, absolutely.
Okay, perfect. So so the three that are joining us so far, this is their first time joining us on the RUL Wednesday. So we'll just kind of start with Ellen. Ellen, she brings 22 plus years of medicine, emergency, geriatric, holistic, and integrative medicine. She's a nurse practitioner. She's board certified in family medicine. So it's a great opportunity to have somebody from the medical practicing side join our panel and to bring value in that way. So we certainly welcome you, Ellen. And then we have Regina Boykin. She's also a wellness professional. She's a wellness coach. Her focus is on vegan. And Regina, your camera is off. I don't know if you knew that or not, but you know, you can pop it on whenever you get a chance. But she's focuses on vegan. There she is. Hey, what's happening? You're probably like, no, you was calling me Rashida before from India. I ain't turning my camera on because I ain't Rashida. But she's also an author of a book called Soul Deliciously Vegan, and she has an amazing story in terms of how she's been able to gain a lot of health and lose over 50 pounds just by changing her diet and eating healthy. Ellen, I didn't know your specific story, so in terms of your transformation, so I didn't share it. I'm sure you have one, and we would love to hear it. The third person that we have on our panel is somebody that I've known his whole life. My nephew, he's also a wellness expert, and he champions wellness. He's a fitness coach, 15 plus years of training he's in the Pittsburgh area, does a lot of work at the Carnegie Mellon University. He's currently working as a lead trainer with a very unique company called, what's it called, Nate? Delta Trainer, right?
Delta Trainer, yeah.
Delta Trainer. Yep, there it is right there.
Yeah.
So, you know, I've known him my whole life, and he's been able to just help a lot of people to get healthy. And so this is our panel. And Heidi, I'm going to just pass it back to you so you can ask each of the panelists their questions.
Okay. We have here.
You're muted, Heidi.
I just hit it, and it hit it again. So
right.
Thank you for that wonderful introduction there. Wonderful people here on this panel. And I'd like to start out with Ellen here a little bit on the first one in the wear and tear theory, Ellen, and what would you like to say on it?
Well, first, I want to just say thank you guys so much for inviting me to be a part of this. And I feel very honored to be on a panel with such amazing humans. Like, this is so great. And what you guys are offering to so many people is absolutely phenomenal. So I'm looking forward to hearing and learning as much as I am as to share. And so the wear and tear is something that we all experience, whether we want to or not. You think about our body is the most amazing machine that has ever been created. You think about how long do you keep your car? You know, how long do you keep a computer? And you have a body that's functioning every single moment of every single day for 80 plus years if we're lucky, right? And so those parts, because they're always moving, they will wear out. And so how do we, as a community, as an individual, find ways to optimize how each one of those body parts are working to their fullest potential without wearing out? How do you decrease damage? How do you take care of yourself if it does become damaged? Because just like a car, parts will break, right? And how do we fix that so that we can continue living our best life and the highest quality of life? And so things like we hear all the time is that we hear about knees and hips. Those go first, right? Knees and hips are the ones that always go because those are the ones that, right, in your back, right? Your knees, your hips, in your back. I feel like it's a song or something, right? But the thing is that those are the ones that we are utilizing the most. Those are the ones that are the biggest weight bearing pieces of our body. And so when they're carrying the most weight, doing the most work, those are the ones that wear out first. So how do we, number one, take care of ourselves so that we don't wear out? And how do we fully rest so that we have the opportunity to give our bodies moments to repair? And, you know, what does your overall health look like so that you can have moments to repair? And that repair, like, what does that look like to you? Everyone's is different. Like we just talked about, I just was floating in a Epsom salt, pod. And that was one of the ways that I helped to alleviate inflammation and recover because I was lifting and doing strength training today. And I know I've ripped down a little bit of muscle, but I need to do that in a healthy way to make sure that I am taking care of myself. So, and we can talk more about fundamental health. What does that look like? What does that sound like to a lot of people? I think if you ask every one of us, we're all going to give you a different answer of what fundamental health looks like to them, right? Do you agree with that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
100.
And so when we look at, how do we feed ourselves? How do we, not just in a diet, but how do we feed our mind, our spirits? What are we seeing? What are we hearing? What environment are we in? How are we taking care of ourselves in the big picture? Because that all contributes to how your body responds to the elements around you. And listen, there are sometimes, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. You can be around somebody for a certain amount of time and you're like, you just wore me out. I cannot be around you anymore, right? Because when they're saying in their negative,
repair.
yes, it just wears you out. I got to go zen and go meditate just to get myself healthy again. And so it's not just about physical wearing out. It's also about emotional, the television shows, the social media, all of those things contribute. It's not just a physical wearing out, it's mental and emotional and spiritual as well. I think, holistically, we need to look at everything, right?
Awesome, Ellen. Yes, definitely. I think that's so important. We talk about environment and all of that, and stress. In fact, stress is going to be one of our main topic for next week and what it does to the body. So absolutely. Would anybody else like to feed off of that, what she just said?
No, I think one of the biggest things that I do for most people is, as a health coach, is help build in that recovery. For the most part, most people feel, especially someone who comes to me and they want to gain strength or something like that, their first thought is, oh, I need to be lifting all the time or lifting heavy all the time. But trying to explain to people that there is a process that your body must take. And then if you're always sort of pushing everything to the max, your body will let you know that you need to take a break. So it's important to have weeks where we sort of deload, or we sort of lower the load of stress that we're putting on our body in terms of our lifting. Even the most high tier athlete, I always use LeBron James as an example, because I feel like he's probably the best example of this. His entire regimen is based on recovery. So from the moment that LeBron James leaves the basketball court, he is basically focused on his body's recovery, because he understands that if he's not 100% all the time, that, that's the difference between basically a championship or bust. So.
Absolutely, Nate. Yes. And people don't realize how much recovery, no matter what you're doing, people that are out there working shifts 12, 14, 16 hours, we talk a lot of people in healthcare that is out there, and they're on their feet and they're drained physically, they're drained mentally. What do you do to de-stress? What do you do not to wear out? Because you're wearing out your mind too. Not even just these joints and all of that, but your mind. And anybody knows a lot of people that go through very hard times and all of that, they deteriorate. Their mind just deteriorates. So it's so important. And I'd love to share later on here, what are some tips that we can give, the people out there for this. We talk about too, the genetic clock is the next one I kind of want to talk about. And that is mechanism in the DNA of our cells that regulate the process. So we're born and there's like a clock on us. Like, where's that going to take? And a lot of times here, genetic diseases that stop growth, evolutionary theory explains menopause at the age of 50. So we're going through all of those changes. So genetically too, it's not bad enough that our environment, but genetically, sometimes we're just built a certain way. Mm-hmm. And so, but at the same time, what are we doing to correct some of those things? Because some of those things that we are genetically made with, some of those are reversible too, that we can change with our environment, with our diets, with, proper nutrition and exercise and all of that, and just be the best way, because soon as we're born, we're dying, right? And that's the realistic part of it is, so what do we want to do? What do we want to incorporate? Our community, all of that. What do we want to incorporate and to have longevity?
Hey, Heidi, I know you're moving on to the second one, but I was going to just add to what Ellen and what Nate was saying, as far as looking at everything and in the recovery process, just being honest with yourself, just being honest with yourself. Like just today, this morning, I had on my calendar, today was a run day for me. And I told you both, you and you guys were on the call, and Regina, I said, I think I'm going to walk, because my body is telling me, like, we have to assess ourselves, and then make an adjustment. And it's okay to do that. It's okay to make that adjustment. And, my body will appreciate that better. Like in the next few weeks, if I would have forced myself to run today, we're talking about anti-aging. So in order for us to feel like you're younger than what you actually are, you have to be able to make that decision. You have to be able to be honest with yourself and have that confrontation with yourself and say, self, is this, even though I had it written on the calendar, which that's a whole nother thing. People need to get on the calendar with your health. Like you need to put yourself on the calendar. If you want to anti-age, I'm going to tell you, get yourself on the calendar, put yourself on the calendar. This is what I'm doing. Ellen, she talked about doing her spa treatment to recover. She's putting herself on the calendar, period. Like you need to be on the calendar.
Oh, I love that. Courtney, I just love that, because getting up in the morning and evaluating yourself. What am I capable of doing? And most important is when you do that and really talk to yourself and look, not that you don't want to be like, I don't want to do this, but your limitation, then you're not setting yourself up for failure. Because if you set yourself up and say, I'm going to go run these 2 miles, and you ran half a mile, you're already kind of defeating yourself already. So evaluating what you can do at that day, that's awesome, Courtney. And guess what? As long as you move, the one thing CWC is incorporating is just move, whatever that is. If it's one step further than you did yesterday or that, you're doing awesome. Just keep going, you know.
If I can
Right.
jump
Yeah.
on that with Courtney for 1 second, because it's absolutely pivotal and essential to listen to your body, and you have to be in tune with yourself, really attune with yourself and have that conversation. It's not always easy to do because, you know, if you are such a headstrong individual, if it's on the calendar, like I have to do that, it doesn't matter. But taking the time, because that recovery yesterday was supposed to be a lift day, and I messaged my trainer and I said, I'm not feeling it today. I'm going to take an extra recovery day. I'm just going to get on my bike and do an easy 30-minute recovery ride versus going to the gym. And because I did that today, I swapped the days around, and today I went and I lifted and I was able to increase weight. You have to listen to your body because it will tell you what it needs. And if you are putting aside how you feel, there's a difference between making excuses to not do it, and there's a difference between listening to what your body is saying to you. And Nate will tell you, like, he's in the physical training world. My trainer, I give her all kinds of fits, let me just tell you. And there's some days when I try to excuse myself out of it, and she's like, girl, be real with yourself. I'm like, damn, okay, fine, I could do it, you know. But then there's one other day I listen to myself and I say, I need this recovery today. My head isn't in a good space. My body doesn't feel well. I'm going to recover. I'm still going to move. That doesn't mean you don't move. It means you adjust and pivot the movement.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely.
If I have someone tell me,
100.
if I have someone tell me they had limited sleep or something like that, I always tell them, lifting isn't what your body needs right now. Like, your body doesn't need a heavy lifting day on 4 hours of sleep. It's like, that's how injuries occur. So instead of just taking this one day and lifting, let's take this day off so you don't get injured and then have to miss, you know, anywhere up to 2 or 3 weeks because you're injured. So.
Yeah, I love that. Anybody else want to speak on that?
Come
No?
on, Mai.
Okay.
Come on, Mai. Open up that camera.
Well,
I know you got something.
I think it's
Okay.
I think it's important to schedule. Like, I schedule my recovery days because I know my body. I don't want to push my body to the point where I can't do anything. That's defeating the whole purpose. So sometimes I know, okay, if we are going to weight train on this day, if we're going to run on this day, I know when Thursday and Friday comes, I'm really pushing it. So Saturday, my body is going to need to rest and recover and recuperate. Your muscles need time to recover in order to work properly. You can't just sit here and stress and strain them out, because then that's not going to be any good at all. Because what's going to happen is your body's going to be too sore, tired, and wore out this day, the next day, day 3. And by that 3rd day, you haven't done any movement because you did so much, you wore yourself out. So it's important to schedule those times, schedule times where you are not doing as much, but you're still moving. Still move, like she said, pivot, take it in a different direction, and just choose to do something else. If I know that I'm so sore and I can't do anything, I can walk.
Well,
I can walk. You know, I can do something light or something easy, something simple. But the whole point behind that is to get up and move.
And that's awesome too. And I think because I think journaling and writing yourself and putting yourself in the calendar, I think that's absolutely wonderful, wonderful thing to put out there to everybody, and put it in. If you have a lifting day, a heavy lifting day, you're not feeling it, put your alternative underneath it. So you're scheduling yourself still movement, and you're making it that, like, okay, this one here, I couldn't do this, but I'm going to do my alternative today. So I know I accomplished something, but it might not have been that strenuous one that we was aiming for, but that's okay.
And Heidi, I was going to say, and have yourself a companion Because
Yes.
that's what I had today. And that companion was Mai. And Mai said, because we had a meeting today, and Mai was like, I'm gonna go for a walk on my meeting. And I said, you know what? I don't need to be in front of this computer screen. I'm gonna go for a walk. And then I told her, I said, I don't really feel up to running today, so I'm gonna walk. So go ahead,
Yeah.
Mai.
Yeah, so I just was going to add to that, like, take your meeting outside because a lot of times we're on mobile and we're on Zoom. So, like, exactly, why do you have to take your meeting inside your office or inside your home with stationary? So just take advantage of the fact that you have this and you can walk anywhere you want. And I was able
Right.
to get my 2 miles, 3 miles in a meeting with Courtney and Heidi and Regina today. Just like we were just talking and I was walking. So it didn't feel like exercise because we were just talking and walking, and it was like very natural. And I got my fresh air, put me in a good mood. It was just like an hour of my time after I dropped my kids off. So it's just making the most of your time while you have it. Because like a lot of times we think, oh, I need to go exercise, I need to do this, I need to do that, and then you're like, and then you think about it too much, and then you like find some excuses not to do it, or you get busy, caught up in the day. But like if you're just like, I'm just gonna just do it because I may not feel like it, but I'm just gonna go. And then like the feelings, endorphins, all that good stuff comes afterwards. Because like there's never been a time where I said I wish I didn't go for that walk. But there's always been a time when you didn't walk, and you're like, man, I should have done that. So yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's 100 right there, Mai. And CWC, they offer that. Like we're walking and talking a lot. Courtney, he's always out there on that river. He's walking, he's running. Mai too, and her beautiful thing. So companions do that for you. And guess what? I don't know about you, but if I'm walking and talking, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm 5 miles, and I'm just, because I didn't even realize it. But when you're by yourself sometimes and you're walking or running and you're in your head, you're like, oh my God, I think I just took 200 steps. And, but when you're out of your head, you just walking and you're not even realizing you're doing it.
That's 100. That is 100%. I met a guy recently. He's from Aruba, and I was doing a training with him. And where we were at, they had bikes. They had bikes that biked us to and from our training to where we were eating. And he was like, "Why would we ride bike?" And like he was like, "I would never ride bikes." He just wouldn't do it. But at the end of the I don't know, 4 or 5 days that we were there, we became friends. And every time we went to go eat, we got on the bikes. And he was like, "You know what? I would get a bike if I had somebody to do this with." And that's just it. What you just said, Heidi, like when you have somebody to do something with it now, the focus is no longer on the actual thing, whichever the exercise or activity is. It's more on the companion in the conversation.
You're having fun talking. Yeah.
100. Yep.
Awesome. So there you go. Some easy steps, like I said, just to review that a little bit. Schedule yourself in the calendar. Put your goal and an alternative in there. Schedule yourself. That's huge. I love that. Journal also, because I don't know about you guys, but I feel as if sometimes whenever I'm done doing something, or I used to do it when I was having some issues, I would write down my blood pressure. I would write down what my exercise was, the food I was eating, but I felt accomplished at the end of that. When I was writing it, I felt okay. And I was like, wait a minute, I wasn't feeling good on this day. What was I doing that day that was making me not feel right? And so I think journaling too is a big part. And you can almost pinpoint, like you listen to any doctor when they tell you, okay, what have you been doing the past month that you're not feeling well, or that they'll have you go back and they'll have you journal. And you can really sit there and look at the broad picture. What do I need to do? Where do I need to pivot? And, what do I need to bring into my environment that is going to not be toxic, get all the toxins out, which that's all we talk about aging too. Our skin, one of the largest organs in our body. What are we doing? That's our largest organ in our body. What are we doing for that? We love sunshine. I'm a big one for that one. I can lay out all day long if you'd let me, but is that really healthy? I'm getting my vitamin D, but I'm also, getting that. So taking care of our skin, putting our fluids in our body, our drinking water, which next month we are doing our water challenge. CWC water challenge, right, Mai?
Oh,
That's awesome.
Oh, shoot, Ma, she's letting the cat out of the bag.
Oh, it's a sneak preview.
A sneak preview.
But Heidi, though, that sun piece, like, that is like, just for me personally, the sun is like life for me.
Yes.
It is so much everything. It hits so many things. It reduces the stress. It just makes you feel so much more. But for me, it's just getting outside and just getting fresh air. You know, in my opinion, like, that gives me so much energy, and it makes me feel like I can take on the world, and it just reduces any stress. But I'm really learning, because I'm learning from this panel here, that maybe sometimes when I go outside, I don't have to move so much. Because, like, in my mind, and like Nate mentioned, a recovery day, and it's like, I just typically don't think about that. Like, and I almost challenge Nate. I almost challenge myself. It's like a competition thing in my own head. And it's like, okay, what can I do so I can recover? And Ma will tell you, because I talk to her a lot, her and Heidi, they could tell you, like, Courtney is probably like, he'll work like an 11 or 12-hour shift, and he's on his feet moving stuff for hours. And then the very next day, I'm on the river running and doing like a heavy, and it's almost like how I try to challenge myself that way. And I know that that's really, all of you are basically saying, don't do that. So I appreciate I appreciate you guys saying that.
And there's probably some movements that you could be doing that you don't do consistently in your normal workouts and stuff. Especially like hip abduction stuff. Like, there's so many movements in our bodies we don't do naturally. And there's so many different exercises you can do with a band and stuff like that physically they're not as tiring as doing like a lat pull down or pull ups or push ups. But they'll help correct all of that and make all of that more efficient.
Yeah.
I always tell people to invest in like bands, because you can do exercises like face pulls where you help open up your shoulder rotation so that you're not having any sort of like rotation issues from just daily use. And in terms of like hip stuff, just having like a focused hip stretching and routine. This is why I do yoga, and I even teach yoga, because I'm just like, man, there's so many movements that most guys won't do, and most like athletic people won't do, and you need to be doing it.
but this is crazy for everybody watching this, because Nate, he like knows how to do all those things that, like he just said, most guys we just don't do, because we don't know. Like, guys, we just gonna keep doing the same thing.
Right.
Yeah, you just think, I'm a dude, I'm just gonna lift. I just gotta lift, and there's nothing else.
Right.
Besides
The excuse that I normally get, the excuse that people normally give me is like, I can't do yoga because I'm not flexible. And I'm just like, what?
That's why you need to do yoga.
Right.
Well, you had some of the best athletes, NFL players and stuff, that took ballet.
That's right.
That took people's like, what? Yeah, when they're leaping through over other people, that's where they got that. And when they say, you talk about the wear and tear, but also if you don't use it, you will lose it. And some things you stretch. And those stretches, if you look at anybody, I just watched a woman, oh my God, she's in her late 80s. And I just watched her not too long ago, had this fitness. She was putting her legs behind her head. She was doing but she stretched every day. Like, she's working these muscles, not strenuously, but she's just doing yoga and she's doing these stretches. And while she's doing that, she's expanding her lungs. Wow. She's breathing. Like, that is so important for our lungs. What are our main functions? We got our heart, our lungs, our liver, our kidneys. So, all of that too. And breathing techniques are it's so huge for longevity, and people don't think of that stuff, Yeah. Or what we're putting in.
Even in terms of like your normal exercise, I actually just talked to someone because he did his workout on our app, and I could see that his heart rate was super high. And it was doing a very simple exercise. So I just asked him about it. He was like, I probably wasn't breathing correctly. I was just like, wait, what? he's like, I have a tendency to, whenever I'm doing something really strenuous, I just don't breathe. And I'm just like, we have to fix that.
But Nate, what's funny about that is very common. for some reason, that is a very common thing. I don't know if any of you have ever been lifting weights or doing anything and just noticed that you were doing that. Like for some reason, it's just very common to hold your breath. You know,
Yeah.
it's like that's the thing that you need that most when you try to push that weight.
Right.
Yeah,
'Cause you don't
learning
put
when
the
to
weight up.
exhale,
Yeah.
like a full
gonna-
exhale and inhale. I mean,
Well, Heidi, you said
Exactly.
breathing, but I mean, that's all you said. Just deep breathing in general is going to help with vitality and anti-aging. But also, when you're exercising, you need to know how to breathe when you're exercising. You need
yes.
you need to have a coach like Nate who can basically kind of correct you. Well, not correct you, but correct you and basically
Yeah,
say,
help
breathe. Make sure you're
teach you,
breathing.
Yeah, when you're running, when you're walking, any of that. It's so funny. I had the thing, whenever I had one of my surgeries, you know, that little machine that you breathe into, Ellen, what's it called?
Positive expiratory end pressure. Yeah.
Do you know what? I
little
use
ball-
that
that
a
little
couple
ball gotta go up.
times. Yeah, I actually do that 10 times a couple weeks. I mean, a couple times a week.
Oh, wow.
Just to build up, because with the COVID thing, I was like, I want my lungs strong. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was doing that. And just like I said, that there. And then, so we go on and we talk about, as we put here, talk about a cellular, the cellular being also. Like what to, we got cancers, right? We got all these diseases and stuff.
Yeah.
How do we prevent these diseases so we have longevity? One, if you're smoking, look at all the toxins that people are putting in their body. Which kind of cracks me up, and I am not going to get on the vaccine thing, but I'm like, you just put all these drugs or these in your body, and you're going to sit there and talk about that? Like, you kill yourself every other weekend, you know? And so what are we putting in our body, folks? What's up in the air? You know, what are we breathing in?
Yeah.
Eating.
Oh, when you talk about breathing in, I will tell you about this river over here. Like, there'd be so many people smoking weed. I just want to, like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, I'm out here trying to get fresh air. This is not fresh air right now. And I'm like, come on, man. And I don't want to be that guy. But I'm like,
Yeah.
Enjoy the
what do I
ride.
do? Do I call the cops? Do I go and like challenge somebody and say, hey, this is not the place for that? I'm like, he's probably like, well, I can't do it at my house, so you know.
Courtney, is that why you're so happy?
No, there's a
Courtney's
lot
like-
of people. There is a lot of people that are doing that, and I'm like, you know, and I like get frustrated after a while because I'm like, come on, I'm like on my bike, I'm trying to jog, and like I gotta inhale that air, and
Yeah.
and I'm just, I don't know, sorry.
Just say no. Just say no, Courtney.
or say yes and do it somewhere else. Like, don't do it like in a place where everybody's like trying to get healthy. Like, people are walking, people have their kids, you know, just like, come on.
Right. Have to
So
explain
we're-
sense to your kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when we talk about this though, so we're talking about stuff we put in our bodies, drinking different things, and it's fine. Anybody knows I had uncles and stuff that lived to be 100 and they drank wine every single night, a medicinal part of wine. So water, huge. Like I said, we talk about water on a cellular being there. We have to drink. And anybody else want to go into all the benefits there or some of the benefits with water so people understand, you know, what
Well, I would have
good
to
water is?
say, I always tell people, because they always ask me about my skin and how my skin is so clear, and I tell them your body needs water. You have to drink lots and lots of water. Your organs need that. Your skin is the largest organ you have, and it needs water the most. Drinking lots of water, for one, it's going to keep you hydrated. For two, it's going to help prevent water retention. And then also it's going to help keep your skin clear. And then, you know, water gets everything moving in the digestive system the way it's supposed to do, without any extra help from anything over the counter, I should say. But those are some of the things that it's good for. Like, your body just needs it. If you ever get to a point where you're thirsty, your body is already dehydrated. You should be drinking water throughout the day.
That's a
Right.
great point. Really
You
good point.
figure as soon as you go, anytime you go into an ER, if you have been in there, what's the first thing they do? They tap you with a line and hydrate you, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. And a lot of times people just in there because they are dehydrated. Your kidneys, your
right.
liver, all that needs flushed.
Mhm.
I think there's a lot of people right now that are like experiencing headaches. And I think if they just drank more water, I think that would help. I notice for me, like whenever I'm not a person that really gets very many headaches, but the days that I do get headaches, I realize that I probably haven't drank enough water. Like my day just got too busy for me and I did
Mhm.
not give myself time. You know, so
Or
Yeah.
go ahead,
Go
Mom.
or
ahead.
sometimes when you're hungry, you're actually thirsty.
Yeah,
So like drink that
Right.
water. Mhm.
Mhm.
that's a really good one. That's a really good one there, folks. If you want to anti-age, challenge yourself, drink some water before you eat. And it's probably gonna cut off like the cravings too. Instead of like
Mhm.
thinking like, oh, I want chips or something like that. Just drink some water. You probably went too long, so now you want chips. You know what I mean? If you'd have drank water like 2 hours ago, you know what I mean? Your stomach would have been feeling like, okay, I'm satisfied, but you waited 2 hours, so now you're dehydrated and you think you want chips. Like what? Your body's like, I'm
That's-
thirsty. Chips.
Yeah.
That's one of the
Cookies.
first, right.
That's
one of
called the
first process
munchies.
goals. Oh, gosh.
That's the munchies.
So
Being on the river too long, Courtney.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that
I'm
river.
going to jump in real quick and kind of give you guys a little bit of information that I think is really helpful.
Yeah.
When it comes to water intake, the question I get a lot is, well, how much should I drink? Or if I ask the question, how much water do you drink? And then I get, well, I drink a lot of water. Well, what does a lot of water look like to you? Because to me, I probably drink about 128 ounces a day. So what does that mean a little bit of water you like accidentally put down your throat when you were brushing your teeth in the morning, or the rest is coffee?
Yeah.
What does that look like, right? And so really having an understanding of what that looks like. And so the rule of thumb is a half of your body weight in ounces is really where you should kind of aim for. And don't go over, a gallon, because then you start to get into water toxicity, and then that could be a bad thing, right? We don't want that.
Right.
We need to have a balance of salt and water. Those are essential, including magnesium. You have to have those. And when I was running an avid runner before I had a significant injury, because again, I was not recovering and I was pushing those miles.
That's
you
me.
know,
That's me.
Yes. And so
Oh my God.
when I was training for my marathon, I did a half marathon training and I was not hydrated well. I wasn't recovered well, and I ended up with an Achilles tendon shred. So with a grade 2 soleus muscle tear. And so there's no more running for me. So I ended up, now I bike. I got my Peloton and we go biking. Like that's like my thing. But hydration is so essential. It's absolutely, Regina's Skin is fantastic. But it really does keep you from looking like a raisin. All of our geriatric population, you could take a look at them and they're all shriveled up. They're all dehydrated. They don't ever drink enough. As you age, you lose the ability to have thirst. And so we're always pushing that water. But I think sometimes we forget that water does a lot of things for us, not just make us look amazing, because we all look fantastic, right? We're all amazing, right? But it does a lot of things, like it protects your important organs. Your brain has to float. It protects the spinal cord and it protects the brain. If your brain is not floating, you're dehydrated, you will start to have brain pain. You'll get a headache. You have to, okay?
That's the thing right there.
Yeah. And so, and especially if now that we're coming into summer, it's really important to remember that when you're sweating, and we all have tasted our own sweat, it doesn't taste like water. It tastes like salt. It's like magnesium. And so drink your pickle juice. Like I'm a huge advocate for pickle juice because of the brine. If you don't, Regina, I think she's looking at me like that girl is crazy. But like
I love pickle juice.
No, look, Ellen, I'm not looking at you like you're crazy. I'm looking at you because I drink pickle juice every day. Like I go buy pickles
Wow.
because I want to drink the juice.
Is this a secret? What is this? I didn't know about
but see,
this.
this is in my morning water. I get up every day. I have a bottled water with turmeric, ginger, cayenne pepper, apple cider vinegar, and lemon juice.
Oh, did you say turmeric? That's Heidi.
Yes, I did.
Oh, her and Heidi are gonna be best friends. Oh my God.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, pickle juice is fantastic. And when I ran Presque Isle, for one of my half marathons, and it was in July, so it was super humid. It was awful. We were drinking pickle juice to help, and that brine puts back those electrolytes.
Oh.
And so that's an old runner's trick. So keep that in mind as we start getting into the summer months. But remember that being hydrated, and we can really talk about, the digestive system on a different day, because I love to talk about it. I know a lot of people don't like talking about poop. It does not bother me at all. It's essential. If we go too much or we don't go enough, we're not happy.
Courtney, what?
Listen, the only time that people talk about it, there's the zipper, right? Talk about it is if you're
Hopefully the listeners.
You're old. That's the only time anybody thinks about it. Is if you're really little, oh my God, the baby pooped. And if you're really old, hey, did you poop today? Like when in the middle of our lives, nobody cares.
Yeah, nobody talked. They're like, oh no, I don't poop. Do you poop?
But it's important. And hydration helps you have good digestive system. If you are not eliminating the things that you have in your body, it's going to stay in there. It's going to become toxic. You have to have the hydration to move things around. And how I like to always tell my geriatrics, because they never drink enough water, is, do you remember the amusement park rides? They have like the log jammers, and you sit and it goes down the river. Yeah, right. You remember those?
Yeah.
Well, if there's no water in that ride, you don't go anywhere.
Your
the
logs
get stuck. So you need water to get the logs to go through. So, like, I know you guys laugh, but this is me for real.
I love it.
Yeah,
it's
so true.
Is essential for everything. It really is. It helps you to eliminate waste through your kidneys. It helps to eliminate waste through your liver, through the spleen. All of your filtration organs need hydration to move it through. Otherwise, it's going to become stagnant, and then you just feel like crud. Right? So there's like so many things. You have to be hydrated. It helps you think better. It helps you sleep better. It protects your vital organs. It protects the brain and the spinal cord. And if you don't have it, you really don't feel well. Like it's important.
So Ellen, I have a question for you.
Yes.
So Heidi, she already let the cat out of the bag. We're gonna do a water challenge.
Sorry.
What would you? It's fine. No, it's perfectly fine. We're having fun, and that's what's most important. What would you say a good number for a child, like for the average person? So you have a lot of patients, you got a lot of people at different levels. Like, what would you say is a good number for people to aim for, on average?
I think on average, a good place to start most people have never drank enough water. I think a good place to start them out would be between 64 and 80 ounces to get them used to it. Because when you start right off the bat, tell them if they weigh 200 pounds, they're going to have to have 100 ounces. They're going to go get themselves a life jacket. They're full of you don't want to overwhelm anybody and give them flotation devices as they're like run into the bathroom every 10 minutes. So I think get them started.
So we were actually we were a little bit light of that, and maybe we'll go with that recommendation. We were saying like 4 of these is about 64 ounces, about 4 bottles of water. So we was actually thinking like 3, but maybe 3 is is too low. But since you gave so much information on water, I wanted to know from your practice and your experience, what would you think is a good average? I think that's a good number.
Yeah, I think it is. Most people on the average, you, like I said, is half your body weight in ounces, but don't go over 128 because, I have people that I take care of, they're 400 or 500 pounds. And I never want them drinking 200 ounces of water because then you can talk about fluid overload. That becomes a whole nother problem, and water toxic becomes a whole other problem. So I think if you stay in the realm of between, 80 to 100 to start, like right in that area, I think it's a good, safe place.
So if I'm 200 pounds, the recommend the half that would be 100 ounces.
Mhm.
Okay, perfect.
And want to emphasize on that, Ellen, you got a lot of people that are obese or, overweight like that. They have a lot of lymphedema problems. They have issues like that. So when you add on to more water, then all that also becomes a problem, right?
Right, because their mobility is decreased and they cannot walk and get that fluid. You have to think about how the lymphatic system works. It works based on movement. It's not like our heart that is a closed circulation where the heart pumps like a sub pump and moves things through. The lymphatic system that drains things through really works based on your movement. You have to be moving. And if you have somebody that is morbidly obese, they have some problem with mobility. And so if you're going to put in a bunch of water, and if they, especially their legs, if they have all of that extra weight on their legs, it's going to decrease and shut off how they get that water out. So it actually can cause problems for them. So you want to stay in a safe space. And I think that's a great question, Courtney. And I think that's a great thing for them.
I had a good question,
I do have a question. So like in terms of drinking half your body weight in ounces, does it include like the water from the food that you eat, like watermelon or just straight up water?
I think it's just straight up water. I've never really counted the watermelon and things like that. A lot of the people that like do low carb, we don't typically have watermelon because it's so high in carbohydrates. And so it depends on what you're doing, right? And if you can calculate.
Like if you're eating like cucumbers or like the leafy green with high content of water, cucumbers, zucchinis, things like that, it has water in there. Mm-hmm. If you're not getting it directly from just the drinking, I think that should count. I don't know.
I think that's a great thing.
But how would you measure it though? That's the question is, how would you measure it? If you blended it, that would be the question.
Your smoothies. I don't know, but like it probably doesn't hurt to be able to eat some of food that are higher in water content because you're able to eliminate it faster, or it cools your body down too.
Add too. Well, it would be also filling. Something with the higher water content is going to be more satisfying. It's going to fill you up, which is a good thing, and low calorie. So I would think, but probably how the water comes down, and I just picture drinking the water itself and it just coming and flushing like you. Now I'm going to always picture this log jammer, and how it's just going to push that right down the chute, but yeah, makes sense.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes. Oh.
Go ahead, Nate.
I have a question in terms of just my personal experience. It seems like it's better for me anyway to drink 8 ounces or more at a time rather than sip on the water. Because in terms of my schedule, I don't want to be getting up every 15 minutes to use the bathroom. Is there any detriment to sort of drinking all your water at once? Okay.
Yeah, one thing that I get a lot of is I can't get that water in all day long. And so I'm like, well, especially my people that are sedentary, because we all know them, and our goal is to get them moving. And so one of the things I say, well, tell me about the favorite show that you watch. and they'll tell me their hour show of Matlock or whatever it is, you know. Okay, how many times their commercials come on? The average is there's a commercial for, you know, every 15 minutes, there is about a 3-minute commercial. And I go, okay, well, don't every time you see commercial, take a drink, and then the next commercial, take a drink, and the next commercial, take a drink. So if you do that 4 times in an hour, you've probably got 10 ounces of water in.
Right.
Definitely.
Good. Yeah. That works. And I working in the nursing home and seeing when I'd go in and train them, what did they, Matlock,
Matlock.
Gunsmoke. Yeah.
Golden Girls.
That's me
Golden
still.
Girls.
I'm
Oh,
still
yeah.
holding on to my girls.
I like Golden Girls.
I love them. But anybody else? Did you have any questions on that before we move on?
I always
Heidi-
tell people to keep a glass on their dresser as well. So when you wake up in the morning, just start off your day hydrated as opposed to trying to play catch up.
That's a great tip. That's a really good tip.
Yeah. And for me, I have multiple bottles. Just wherever I go, I just put it in there. So if I have 2 of these, one's at my desk, one's in the car if I take it. So I always refill this. So at least 3 or 4 of these a day. It's pretty manageable for me to get my water in.
So Heidi, we're like right at 5 minutes till the hour. I don't know if you want to give each of the panel a chance to share, you know, what they're doing to, you know, whatever their programs are or different things that they're doing, to give them a chance to, you know, share what they're doing.
I think she's frozen.
Oh, okay.
I know.
Well, Ellen, why don't you go? Why don't you start? It's okay. It's technology. You never know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, my journey really started when I was taking care of so many other people. And I think we always are that, where we take care of everybody else and we don't take care of ourselves because we feel that we are strong enough that we can just power through it. We don't have recovery days. We don't do self-care because at the end of the day, like, I'll be happy when everyone else is happy.
Right.
Wrong. That's so wrong. Because, you know, you can't put oxygen masks on anybody else if your plane is going down, right? And
I love that. I
and
love that you said that. I love that you said
Yeah.
that. That is so on point.
I am a huge advocate for self-care, and it looks different for everyone. And I think maybe even one time we can have a conversation about self-care. But for me, my mother passed early, diabetes and some things,
Sorry to
and my
hear that.
father is diabetic and coronary artery disease and congestive heart failure. And so when we talk about genetic predisposition to
Mhm.
disease processes and how do we stop that aging, and so I know for me, it's not if, it is a when, because I'm already genetically predisposed to having diabetes and coronary artery diseases. And so knowing that, I do all of the things now so I can push back my time clock, because that
Yes.
when is coming, and it's up to me how soon that is,
Yes.
right?
That's
And
yeah.
so I went to my primary care doctor and she just looked at me with that, you know, and I'm like, don't give me the shame. Like, don't shame me. And he was like, listen, you know, you're 65 pounds overweight. Your blood pressure is 150 systolic. Like, you're auditioning for the role of polypharmacy. Like, I'm going to write everything and send you to the pharmacy. And I'm like, give me
Oh,
6
wow.
months. Give me 6 months. And so I really started changing things around. Did, keto, low carb. I really kind of focused more in between. And then I added ketones. I added weight training, more so for feeling stronger and really getting that cardio part of it, because when more muscle mass you have, the more calories you burn in a day. And Nate will talk more about that than I ever will, right? But
Right.
started looking at how I was caring for myself. And now that, I've lost 40 pounds, my husband has lost 52 pounds
Awesome.
just by joining me. And that's kind of how, this kind of started for me, with just reaching out and helping other people that can get control of their health and wellness, especially when you don't know where to start. It can be overwhelming not knowing where to start. And so that's why I'm here, is to be a part of this. And I love sharing and helping others.
Well, can you let people know how they can connect with you?
Absolutely. So you can find me on Instagram. I do have, I am known as the ketone butterfly. I love exogenous ketones. I drink them every single day. There are so many benefits to ketosis. And some people have a very difficult time, especially if they're insulin resistant, getting into ketosis. And so that really does help get you there a little bit easier. And so you can connect with me on Instagram or Facebook. I do have, I run challenges and weight loss challenges and things like that all the time. And I'm always open to sharing and loving on everyone.
Awesome. No,
Awesome.
this has been amazing. I just followed you on IG. I didn't even know. I didn't know you were on IG. So there's some feedback in the background. You guys hear that? You guys hear
Sounds
that?
like a man.
Yeah, somebody needs to mute. There you go. I think it was you, Regina. But no, thank you, Ellen, for sharing that. Definitely connect with her. She's a wealth of information. I'm actually just getting to know you. And I'm like, I feel like you're a sister from another mister, just like, you know what I mean? Like when you was talking about your family history, I'm like, same here, you know, father, mother. The only difference is it was kind of opposite. My father had passed away from those types of complications that you mentioned, specifically diabetes and heart disease. And my mother's still alive, so it's kind of just the opposite. But no, thank you for taking the time and sharing. And people definitely connect with her. She's a wellness champion. You know, she's on the medical side, but she's beating a drum. So I appreciate you, you know, being on that side of it, but still championing self-care and just creating health. Like there's a difference when somebody's just trying to push pills or push things versus just creating health yourself. So
I appreciate
Regina,
you having me. I look forward to doing this again. You guys are amazing.
yes, absolutely, 100. Regina, do you want to unmute your mic, Regina, and share a little bit before we?
Yes. Can you hear me now? Yeah, we're hold on, let me turn the light. We're helping one of our friends. I have messaged you through Courtney. You'll see it when we get done. But a little bit about me. What started me on this was I was 200 plus pounds, and the diets and the fads weren't working, and I realized that the key to wellness was getting up and move and eating healthy. I liked our conversation earlier and what we talked about. You know, it's not about the scale. Show me the blood work. Like I just really, really, really love that. Like that resonated with me, and it stuck with me all day. Like it just stuck with me all day, and I think that is so amazing. When you are in this journey, it's better for you not to look at the scale and not to be so focused on body image, but rather your blood work and what your numbers are and how all of that is. And you get excited when, hey, I went to the doctor, my A1C is 6.0, I'm pre-diabetic, but then 6 months later, hey, I'm a 5.6, I did it, I know I can keep going, you know, so that's really encouraging. And I like the points that we brought up tonight about making sure we drink water, make sure we're hydrated, make sure our muscles, we give our body breaks and we let our muscles recover. You know, that's one of the key things to wellness, is to keep going and to move and stay active, but also learn how to incorporate that self-care at the same time. So I'm excited about this journey. I'm excited to be a champion for wellness. I'm already claiming it.
Yes.
I'm already claiming it.
Yeah,
I'm already claiming it.
So we kind of shared that we had a meeting, but yeah, our meeting today was we were inviting Regina to explore, you know, to explore the companion and joining the companion, because she naturally is a companion. If you haven't noticed, but how can people connect with you, and tell us about your book and how people can connect with you there?
Sure. I am on Instagram as Honestly Vegan 2019. I'm also on Facebook as Honestly Vegan. We're not going to say my other name. Only the people from earlier know my other name. So we're going to leave it at that. And my cookbook, Soul Deliciously Vegan, is available on my website. www.honestlyvegan.info. And the recipes are easy. The ingredients can be found in any store. And all the recipes are designed to be 30 minutes or less, unless it's something like the lemon blueberry muffins or like the banana bread recipe. Of course, those things have to bake. So those recipes are going to take you about an hour.
Wow. I'll wait an hour for a lemon blueberry muffin. I will sit right there. I'll sit right here. I'll be like, for one whole hour. I'll just be
I
sitting.
guess.
Yeah. And all the
Courtney looking
recipes,
in the stove.
all the dessert recipes are designed to be low sugar.
Okay.
Because
Awesome.
that plant life, I'm all about that plant life and being well.
Yeah.
Not losing weight and dieting, but being well.
Yes. No, that's
That's what it's all about.
That's 100.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming to the call. Nate,
You're welcome.
we're gonna finish up with you. Why don't you go ahead and unmute your mic? There you
Yeah,
go.
I would say that my recovery journey started actually after I ripped my patella tendon off my shin. So this was probably like a little bit more than 10 years ago. Before then, I was 25 years old. I thought I was indestructible. And I was basically just doing too much. I was working out all the time, wasn't getting enough rest, definitely wasn't hydrating enough. And I was actually waiting to train someone at the gym, playing a pickup basketball game. I got a steal. And I'm like, I'm gonna go out for a dunk. Like, it was like something I do all the time. I was just like, cool, I'm jumping, I'm good. And my leg was like, not today. Probably the most alarming part of it was talking to my doctor before surgery and then basically saying that like, there was nothing you did. Like, there was no physical trauma to the leg. There's nothing that caused this. But like at that moment, I knew that like I wasn't doing enough to rest my body and recover. I mean, since that moment, I've sort of made recovery a larger focal point in just how I coach and train people in general. Plus, like, just seeing the benefits to myself. 10 years removed from a knee surgery, being able to sort of have my bounce back, to still be able to run and move and function like really well. Most people don't even notice my knee unless I wear like, I'll typically sometimes if I'm playing basketball, especially outside or something, I'll cover it with like a protective pad just so no one runs into me so I don't fall. But most people don't even notice that I have any issue because I move so well. So I always advocate, man, mobility, recovery, lifting is awesome. It does feel good to have those moments where you're lifting and you're feeling strong. But let me tell you, it feels even better whenever you're able to hit like a split squat and not have any knee pain. that feels 1,000% better.
How can people
I mean, I was gonna say the easiest way to connect with me is again on Instagram. It's FREZZE912. Otherwise, you can check out our app. It's deltatrainer.fit. It's all one word. We do, we basically connect high-level personal trainers and coaches with people. And it doesn't matter what your goal is. It doesn't matter what your equipment setup is. Whether you have like just body weight stuff, whether you're in a full gym. We use basically the Apple Watch to track your movements while you're doing the exercises, so your coach can let you know that you're doing things correctly in terms of form. And you also get like heart rate feedback that your trainer is able to see. So it's really awesome. It's a new startup. It's Pittsburgh based, working with two really brilliant guys, one from CMU and one from MIT. And we've sort of ballooned in the last 6 months. We've grown very large.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
That's awesome,
Yeah.
man. Thanks for taking time to share your expertise and the value that you bring. And we often communicate. You always send me stuff, and I just be blown away because I'm like, there is muscles and there's different parts of your body that are there that we just don't pay attention to, and we want to be able to perform, and we want to be able to do these different things. But most people, like probably 1% of people, are going to take the time to learn at that level, and that's what I appreciate most about it. And then of course I'll tell you about my app when I run and how the lady tells me you're 8 paces behind, and then you just give me some feedback, and you're like, do this, do that, lift your leg, turn your leg like this, and I'm just like, that's unbelievable. Like, to me, that's just unbelievable. To get like that kind of, to get that. Well, yeah, but it's the technology, but it's him. It's actually
Yeah.
his mind. It's the way that he understands
Just understands it. Yeah.
functionality and how the body works. It's a very different type of a trainer. Like Nate is a very different type of trainer than like just your regular guys. Just because I'll just go in there and say, "Come on, we're gonna do some pull-ups and some sit-ups." But that's the easy way. But he's gonna get in there and say, "No, get down. We're gonna move our hips this way. We're gonna, it's gonna be very, very different, and it's not gonna be nothing crazy, but it's gonna make you stronger and just make you more whole."
Yeah. I always tell people like it's the way our body connects. I had someone who was trying to do pull-ups the other day and they were struggling. And I was just like, pull from your elbows. They're like, what do you mean? I'm like, you're thinking too much about pulling your hands and pulling that bar down. I'm like, and all you're doing is like causing all this extra stress in your forearms and stuff. Think about just pulling your elbows behind your back. And they did like 3 straight pull-ups and they were just like, what just happened? I'm like, you're using your body correctly.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like a lot of people don't. You go in the gym and they just start doing these exercises and the way they're lifting and they can hurt themselves. Like it's so important. Yep. And tonight we talked about wear and tear on your body. If you're going to lift, whatever you're going to do, remember, you might think you're all strong right now, but if you're not lifting right, you're going to wear these out in another 10 to 20 years. You're going to be going to get cortisone shots.
Yeah, you're not anti-aging. You're opposite. You're reverse anti-aging. You're like aging yourself. Like you're making your back like if I'm 40, I'm gonna make my back. That's why I don't like even we got to get ready to go, I know, but like lifting heavy weights and stuff like that. Like I've really it's steps, I'm taking steps. I'm not really at that level that Nate's at yet, but I mean, I do understand that like I'm not going to do a whole lot in the gym just because I understand that if I can just push and pull my own body weight, I feel so much better when I do push-ups versus when I do a bench press. Yeah. And to me, like just basic, the bench press itself, that motion with your elbows being out and your shoulders, and I get that pain. I don't get that pain whenever I do a push-up. It's just like a push-up it's a more natural movement.
Natural.
Yeah. And so I can add and say, okay, whenever I bench press, I get this crazy pain in my shoulder. Whenever I do push-ups, I don't. So which one am I going to do? Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm going to do push-ups.
Listen to your body.
Listen to the body.
I also wanted to add with Courtney's Wellness Companion, we have different trainers that come in and teach our fitness classes. And it's kind of like a mini trainer session where it's intimidating. I know for me to go into the gym because you don't know what you're doing and you're like, well, I'm just gonna go on the elliptical because that's all I know how to do. But like since I've been like with the trainers coming in, they show you, they tell you what you're doing and how to do it, and it's really nice. Like it's in the setting of your own home, so you're not embarrassed when you're outside and you're doing it wrong. But it's like you can ask questions and you can get little corrections, and it does make a big difference because like that little correction, it just makes you feel so good. I remember when we did yoga, Leslie was like, you're like having some back issues and you're like, yeah, you gotta stretch it like this or you gotta stretch it like that, and it's like instant relief or instant like, I don't know, magic, like just what Nathan said.
100.
And like to end it too, if you guys love out there, whoever's watching us, if you love what CWC is all about, come check us out. Monday through Friday, there we got something. We have Cooking with our foodie. We have Are You Well Wednesday. So different topics. We have different 60-second challenges. Me out there all the time walking and doing things. If you love that community, this month we're offering, it's okay to Courtney to say, our founders membership, $4.99 for the month of May. That you get all of that virtually in your face.
100.
Nice, pushing you to be the best that you can be, helping you with this aging, and again, just making better health and wellness,
and people
body, spirit, and mind.
And people should know that offer is going to end May 31, and then the regular price will be $19.99. So if you're a person who is interested in reversing the aging process. Certainly connect with any one of these folks that are on the panel, but you can also connect with us. We're going to continue to provide you access to these wellness professionals, as well as be your daily companion and just support you. So that again, that's by May 31, we're going to offer you a founders member rate at $4.99. After that, that's a ridiculous rate, obviously, with all the things that we do. We also offer our clients a coaching call once a week as well, where we check in
Yes.
with you as well. So share this with somebody, anybody that you know that's trying to get healthier, want to be healthy. We're obviously living in a pandemic where a lot of people are worried about their health and, just getting healthy. We are going to get you straight. We're going to help you to just be focused, and we're going to just clap for you all the way through and support you. And we're going to share our journey with you. So thank you all.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this was an awesome panel, an awesome discussion, Heidi. Fantastic job. Kudos to everyone that joined in. Unfortunately, Rashida